Marcellus, is Mike Tomlin part of the problem?
No, not to the degree where it seems like the noise is louder than what's really going on in terms of content with this team and their failures and miscues. If you look at Mike Tomlin, we talk about him as a coach, and that's separate then, is he still the issue in Pittsburgh? Second most wins of any coach right now coaching on the sidelines behind Bill Belichick. Never had a losing season, include this one. As bad as this one's been, he won't have a losing season on a 12-year record. So now what do we talk about with Mike Tomlin? The run-pass balance that you talk about. Pittsburgh is out of balance, and if you look at it, maybe that's just because of their offensive coordinator, newly appointed Randy Fichtner. If I want to fix my issues this offseason, simply I can fire Randy Fichtner and say, you know what? Job not well done, not well enough, and then change up that dynamic between him and Ben Roethlisberger, who you've even said is not the best leader at that position.
Poor leader.
Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, maybe that is the quick fix. But to fire a guy who's number 2 on the list in terms of wins, I would start at number 16 all the way to 32. I would look at those guys, the ones who are not performing up to standard, up to expectations, before I go to a Mike Tomlin, who I think has done his job in terms of getting this team properly motivated. They lost their best running back, franchise running back, who was the number 2 receiver. Then they lose the backup, who was amazing himself. And now they're down to a one-dimensional attack, which is focused on Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. But Mike Tomlin, to me, not the issue. A lot more issues on this roster than that coach.
I agree with you, guy. You left nothing to say. Nothing left to say. One of the big things is I think that people kind of forget, because it's kind of get lost in the shuffle through their season, is the Le'Veon Bell distraction. And that was a big distraction during the season. You may not think it's a distraction, but when you have one of your, possibly, people say, at one point was the best running back in the National Football League. He doesn't report. Offensive linemen say he's coming in this week. Oh, he's coming in next week. Now they're in the locker making fun. We're taking this stuff out. I mean, that's a distraction. You can't put that on Tomlin. That's part, that's football itself. Those are holdouts. And I think that's a big distraction in this football team. Yes, they have a lot of talent. I think they should make the post. I don't know if they will. You hope they're in the postseason because they have so much talent. But when I look at Ben Roethlisberger and Tomlin's relationship, is that a problem? Yes, I think it's become a problem for sure. I mean, but who are they going to go with, the coach or the player? I think the star player's going to always win that. But I don't think they'll get rid of Tomlin. And I don't think they should get rid of him.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to at this point. First of all, just looking at it from the numbers standpoint, winning coach, why would you get rid of him? I don't understand why you would do that.
Part of the problem.
I don't think. Yeah, you're always part of the problem. I think there's enough blame to go for everybody when you're losing. I think that's always. But
can he fix the problem?
Can he fix the problem? Yes, I think he fixed the problem. I agree with you what you said, Marcellus. Maybe the offensive coordinator is something wrong there. A lot of distractions. What you said, Eric. I think if the players don't like him, it seemed like obviously the situation in Green Bay. That was something that you could see right there. McCarthy and Aaron did not get along. He didn't like McCarthy, and McCarthy probably didn't like Aaron. He never said it. Therefore, the coach gets fired. Here, I don't know if I see the same situation. That's why I think they're going to bring him back.
Oh, who do you
replace him with?
There's all kinds of signs that Big Ben doesn't like Tomlin. Mm-hmm. They're never on the same page. Just even going back to the Raiders deal when Big Ben threw him under the bus. And again, I think Ben's a poor leader. But to say that he can fix these problems when I think there's a disconnect between him and Ben, and there's no way in hell that Big Ben's going to allow him to fire this guy that's just had 1 year as the offensive coordinator, because Ben's going to say the offense wasn't a problem. Ben's going to say that, Ben's not going to co-sign for that. And so this is very similar to the Green Bay situation and Mike McCarthy. I don't think he's a bad coach. It's just that the relationship between him and Aaron Rodgers reached a point where it's like, well, this can't be fixed. And I think we're looking at a similar situation here in Pittsburgh. And you fellas, y'all got to remember, they were 7-2-1 1 month ago. 7-2-1. And now they're out. They're probably, likely going to get eliminated. I'm not 1,000% convinced, but if Baltimore does what they're supposed to do, they're eliminated from the playoffs after being 7-2-1. That's a problem with that much talent.
Well, I wouldn't ring the alarm to the point where I would get rid of my winning coach, who has allowed us to win a Super Bowl championship, be in 2 Super Bowls, and has kept this thing rolling to the point where they haven't had a losing season despite a holdout, which end up being not returning to your team, and then injuries, and then that has affected their play calling. If you don't want to
bad teams they've lost to.
Okay, and you know what? Look at the good teams that they've won.
That's the issue, though. They play down to their competition a lot of times. There's a lack of consistency from the Mike Tomlin team. This isn't a call for him to be fired, but there is a problem, and then the Steelers have to ask themselves, can he fix it? And that culture set. They've been inconsistent for a long time.
Antonio Brown had a career year, is having a career year. If you have Le'Veon Bell or even his backup, do you think we're still having the same conversation in some of these games? Miscues are not always on the coach. Hey, Juju, just hold on to the ball while you – he was still alive on that play, so he was fighting. And what happens, as Tony knows, as you know, when you fight for those extra yards, that's our opportunity to strip or to get you in an inopportune position. So I just can't put all this on Tomlin. I understand your issues, but I don't see the attachment to Tomlin necessarily.
And you're right about James. James, think about it. If you have Le'Veon Bell in the lineup for the whole year, let's just say that happens hypothetically. You can add them another 3 or 4 wins for sure. Most definitely. James Conner got hurt at the wrong time. That's probably another 2 wins because I think they will keep running the football. When you don't run the football, I see it with my own team, the Rams. All of a sudden, you become a passing football team. That play action don't mean nothing because, they're going to run the football. They're going to throw the football.
Fake punt yesterday. Again, fake punt. From your own 46, 4th and 5, you could leave your quarterback out there. This is what I'm talking. Then you got the players celebrating as if they had made the first down. There's only one team I can think of that this would happen to. That 4th and 5 deal, the players celebrate. What other team would have that lack of self-awareness other than the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's been a common problem and issue. And, yes, they've won a lot of games. They won a Super Bowl.
What's the other team? Let me just hear.
I can't think of another team.
I know Carolina did last week when Cam Newton was playing. He thought he had a first down. He did, but guess what? He didn't call timeout when he should have, and then that came back to haunt them. So that's 2 teams, and if I go through all the teams out there, Bill Belichick had a 4th and 2 on his own 25, I remember a couple years ago.
Wasn't people out there celebrating, dropping the ball when they clearly a yard
short. Fire the coach. Fire the coach for it, huh?
Everybody
celebrating.
There's Tony, they act like I'm crazy. Like, this isn't the Kardashians of football.
It is.
And this isn't a soap opera every year. But the star of the soap opera, he's blamed. And again, it's not a call to fire him. But I'm just saying, what they make decisions on is, can this guy fix? Because there is a cultural problem in Pittsburgh. They're too loose. They're not situationally sound. How the hell do you lose 10 straight coaches' challenges? 10 straight.
You're right. There is a problem.
There is 10 straight games, though. There's some teams out there losing 10 straight.
But there is a problem there. I hear what you're saying. There is something going on. This could be the most talented football team to never make the playoffs. I mean, they got Hall of Famers on that side of the ball. Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and those guys can flat out play. They got a good offensive line. Got They got the young Watt coming off the edge. Yeah. They have players. And for them not to be in the playoffs, I think it's sad for us as fans because we want to see the best teams in the playoffs. What is the alternative, though? They're dysfunctional. They have their problems, but they always find a way to make it work. This is the first time it's going to bite them in the butt, and it ain't going to work out. But maybe they can fix that out during the offseason.
I don't want to put words in Terry Bradshaw's mouth because clearly he can speak for himself, the title of the show. But this is what Terry and other longtime critics, they say, this day has been coming. This isn't a shock to them. Loose ship eventually sinks.
Respect to Terry Bradshaw and all those Pittsburgh greats. And what is it, up12.com or something, that it is like the Pittsburgh Steelers blog? And boy, if you ever, was it 12 Up? Yeah, if you ever go to a team's blog, oh my God, prepare for fire because everyone is going to get it. Mike Tomlin and these former players are too close to see it from our vantage point. They're in the forest and can't see the trees. If y'all get rid of Mike Tomlin, like Tony said, good luck finding something comparable or even close to being better. Like, I don't think that this is a better situation.
Let's pump the brakes.
Yeah.
In 50 years, they've had 3 coaches. Show me their history of picking.
And who's won the most games of all?
But just show me a history of them picking a bad coach.
Okay, they have history, but they've also picked the coach who's won the most of all of that illustrious history. So where
Chuck Noll's won the most. He's won 4 Super Bowls.
Okay,
and that's what they play for.
Not win percentage.
Bill Cowher's won a Super Bowl. Same as Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
You can't fire him, though.
You can't
fire him. You can't.
You would object if they did.
I would be shocked if they fired him.
I would be shocked, too, because that's not their history. And he's not a bad coach. I don't know if he's the guy to fix this problem. Stick around.